Welcome to Moving with CHD, the podcast and vlog where I talk to fellow CHDers about being active with a congenital heart defect. I'm Hayley and was born with atrial ventricular septal defect and had 2 open heart surgeries by the age of 1. Growing up, I loved being active, but wanted to better understand the benefits and challenges of exercising with this condition. I'm therefore so excited to hear from others who have found their love for movement within their heart limits. Together we'll share these incredible stories and the realities of moving with CHD. However active you're able to be, I hope you find some inspiration, encouragement, and the movement you love. This week, I'm excited to launch a bonus episode. I'm speaking with heart dietitian Veronica, where we consider the nutritional side of supporting a healthy heart and talk sustainable weight loss and how to find the balance between losing weight and fueling a more active lifestyle. Hi, Veronica. It's great to have you on the podcast, Moving with CHD, and so happy that you can join us today.
Thanks, Hayley. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome. I'm really pleased that we're sort of bringing you onto the show today because actually it's nice to have a bit of a different perspective actually, and I'm really excited to be talking about sort of heart health and weight loss from a nutritional point of view rather than sort of what we've been talking about a lot recently is obviously more on the exercise and fitness side. So I'm really excited to have this different perspective. I thought let's maybe start with a quick fire round, a little bit of getting to know you. And if that's all right with you, I'd just say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. Awesome. Favorite Disney character?
Ooh, Baloo from the Jungle Book.
What is your spirit animal?
Ooh, lion.
Nice. If you could eat anything right now, what would it be?
An apple. I'm really craving an apple for some reason.
That is the healthiest choice I've heard so far. Love it. What is one thing on your bucket list, maybe post-COVID?
Yeah, post-COVID. Go on a vacation, get to a beach, relax.
Amazing. All right. Well, I'm really excited to sort of get into this and so deep dive with the first question. It's getting right in there. Should weight loss be our primary goal to change our nutritional habits?
Yes, it's an interesting question and I do receive it a lot. But my answer is absolutely not. I think weight doesn't determine our risk for health or, getting any heart issues. And that's becoming more and more clear in the research. But we've had the mentality that weight should be our primary goal to become healthier. And that's kind of stuck around. So I think, people can be considered underweight or normal weight or overweight, and they can still be at high risk for especially for heart issues, heart attack or stroke. So I don't think that, body size itself and weight should be the goal that we're targeting. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do hear this a lot. A lot of clients come into my office and they say that, their doctor has told them that they have high cholesterol or high blood pressure. And in order to reduce that, they're going to be put on medications and they need to lose weight. And then they're kind of sent on the way. But a lot of the research is actually suggesting maybe including some more foods or some specific foods like eating more fish or more beans, more legumes, more vegetables. That's actually going to reduce our cholesterol and our blood pressure a lot more than just focusing on weight, right? And eating more of these types of healthy foods, you have the likelihood of actually losing weight. But it's not our focus. Our focus isn't, trying to get, 2 pounds down by the end of the week. It's actually trying to eat more of these healthy foods to become healthier. And then as a result, perhaps weight loss will come. I guess the concern I have with having weight as our primary goal is that you can lose weight in a variety of really unhealthy ways. And it could actually put you at increased risk for especially heart disease or other chronic diseases. For example, there's lots of low fat or low calorie products that are high in sugar and very low in nutrients. So even though they're lower in calories, and that's going to make your net calories lower, it's not going to make you healthier. It's not going to make you, lower your cholesterol or your blood pressure. And those are our ultimate goals, right? So I think trying to not focus so much on weight as the goal, but on our health and how can we become healthier.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've probably just touched on this slightly as well, but can you, when we talk about weight loss, I often see sort of a very simplified version of calories in versus calories out.
Yes.
Is it that simple, or can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I wish it was that simple. It makes it a lot easier. Unfortunately not. There's a lot of research that suggests our body weight is tightly regulated by a lot of physiological variables, endocrine responses, hormones. And it actually, our body, it's set up so that it defends against long-term weight loss. In the past or in the hunter-gatherer years, they didn't want us to starve. So if we were restricting our calories, then we have these mechanisms in our body to help prevent us from starving and from losing too much weight. So I think that's kind of kept with us into, our age today, where we don't necessarily need those mechanisms. But I guess there's research to say that sometimes when we're having these weight loss for long term, especially really rapid weight loss, our hormones can change, and it can actually rev up our appetite to say, hey, you're losing weight, you need to eat more. So that's not helpful. Or maybe other studies have suggested that our metabolism lowers, right? So it will lower so that it will help us burn fewer calories so that we don't lose weight or lose too much weight over the long term.
Okay.
So I think, this idea of we just have to overcome willpower to eat less and then we'll lose weight, or perhaps exercise more, it's not that simple. And in fact, I counsel a lot of individuals who would probably be categorized as obese, according to BMI, let's say. And when they fill out a food diary for me, they're eating so few calories. Like they're so much less than their body needs. And in fact, they're gaining weight. So again, it's all these processes in our body that help prevent us from losing too much and keeping us alive, which is interesting.
I mean, I guess it's quite a clever mechanism, really. If obviously it's from sort of where we were. It's holding on to all that fat because it thinks
Exactly.
But yeah, I guess in our modern world, we're not quite as active necessarily as we used to be.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think too, we have this emotional eating as well that's happening. And that's for a variety of reasons, but, increased stress, and sometimes food helps to reduce that stress, as well as sleeping habits. Those have gone down. And if we've underslept or we're not sleeping well, that can increase our appetite as well. Again, just hormones to say, hey, you need some more energy. I'll increase your appetite to help you meet that. So a lot of things have changed, but our body still remains the same.
Yeah. So I guess, is there a way or sort of what is sustainable weight loss?
That's interesting. Yeah. So sustainable weight loss, I guess, is changing your lifestyle for something that you could do for the rest of your life. So it's not a temporary diet, which I think a lot of people, at least it comes to mind when they want to lose weight, is, I just need to go on this diet for this short amount of time. I'll lose weight and then I can go back to the way that I'm eating. And so diets don't necessarily work in the short term, because sure, you do lose the weight, but then something comes up in life, like a vacation or maybe a celebration like Christmas is coming. So that could be something like that, that makes us go back to the way that we were eating before. And then we just go back to those original habits that we had. And those habits before made us gain weight. That's why we were heavier at that time. So again, you're going to gain that weight back that you perhaps lost in your diet. And then it's just that vicious cycle, right? You go back on a diet because you gained weight, and then you end up gaining more weight after the diet's done. So I think the sustainable weight loss needs to be these small lifestyle changes that can give you slow weight loss. And I think the slowness is something that people need to understand, that it's okay. It's something to strive for, that the slow weight loss can be helpful, because that means that you're slowly changing your lifestyle so that it can be sustainable. It can be changes that you adopt for life. So I think slow, if that makes anything, slow weight loss is the way to go to make sure that it's sustainable.
Okay, fantastic. And I think, the other thing I want to touch on is actually, if you do follow and be able to have a more sustainable approach to weight loss, and that's just because you've adapted your sort of habits, I guess, and your lifestyle habits. How can that sort of support your heart health?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's focusing on these small changes, right, that we can change for life. That's going to make us healthier and live longer, because these small changes are the ones that we can start to focus more on those foods that have been shown to make our heart stronger in many ways, right? Reducing our cholesterol and our blood pressure, helping our blood vessels just optimize the function of those. So I think those small changes and making sure that these small tweaks, I guess, that we try to work, well, at least I try to work with my clients on, that's going to support our heart health for life, right? Because we're going to be engaging in these behaviors for life.
Absolutely. And is there any risks that you see associated with, sudden weight loss?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, unintentional sudden weight loss is something definitely to flag and follow up with your doctor. But intentional sudden weight loss, which you see with a lot of these fad diets, it can be bad for a couple of reasons. One is something, I see this a lot with people who have been on a diet. They follow it to a T. They lose a bunch of weight. And then they're frustrated because that weight loss stops or it plateaus. So then it leads to frustration, lack of motivation to continue in these lifestyle changes that they've had. And then the other risk that comes to mind is that when you have this sudden weight loss, we have to kind of look at your body composition. And a lot of the time that weight loss is coming from a muscle mass breakdown and not necessarily reducing our fat mass. And we want to maintain our muscle mass, if anything, increase it, right? Because that's going to help us become healthier. So breakdown of muscle and not fat isn't going to help our health in the long term. Muscle mass helps increase our metabolism. It improves our body composition, which I think a lot of people are looking for when they're trying to achieve weight loss, right? It's just to become fitter and stronger and more toned. So reducing that muscle mass, increasing the fat mass, or maintaining the fat mass won't really help with that at all.
Okay. And this is a big, sort of a big question. It's probably hard to answer in, a few sentences, but I guess if you're starting to look at your nutrition more and you're starting to exercise more and wanting to have that active lifestyle, how can you eat to do both goals? You want to fuel that exercise, but you want to lose weight. How do you approach that?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's complex. That's two big goals that you're working towards. So I think it's trying to be kind to yourself and go slow with the process. again, these fad diets kind of push that we need to do everything quickly and we have to have results quickly or else we're not doing it right. And I think, going slow, trying to have that mentality that we're trying to maintain or make these changes for life, I think can really help support both of these goals that we have. Also try not to exercise for weight loss, not to burn too many calories, but instead, trying to find motivation in exercise to maybe alter our stress levels or increase our self-esteem or perhaps improve our sleep, to help with our hormone changes, like reduce insulin resistance and things like that. I think these are the things that will help us, support both processes, just like a different mindset and a shift there. But I think for nutrition, when we look at how we can lose weight while being active, I think it's focusing more on the choices that we're making for food, like what are we eating? And we want to be eating more quality food. So choosing more whole foods, less processed foods, limiting refined foods like refined carbohydrates, maybe like white bread compared to whole grain bread, limiting our sweets, but not necessarily just limiting, but focusing on adding more of these healthy foods, like adding more vegetables, adding more fruit, eating more whole grains, maybe trying some beans and legumes. I think those would be what I'd encourage people to add to help support both the weight loss, but also the increasing their activity to help increase their muscle mass and so on. And not just the food quality, I'd say, but portion sizes as well. I think trying to understand how much food each individual needs to be satisfied. A lot of the time we use external cues to kind of measure how much food we need, like how much is that person putting on their plate? How big is our plate? And not necessarily tuning into our intuitiveness or our hunger cues, perhaps to say, oh, you know what, I'm actually getting full. I don't need the rest of this. Maybe I'll pack it up and save it for a snack later or leftovers tomorrow, right? And then it's also not just the food quality and the food itself, but perhaps where we're eating. Are we eating in front of a computer or a TV? What are we drinking during the day? Are we drinking water or are we drinking juice and pop? And so I think trying to put in these behaviors that will help set us up for success, like making time to plan meals or grocery shop or meal prep. I think those are the things that will help us become healthier and help fuel our activity as well.
Amazing. Yeah, great advice. I love that. Is there, I guess, one final thing you would say as sort of like an advice for someone, one key takeaway you have?
Key takeaway, I just say be kind to yourself. So these goals of like healthy eating and being more active and becoming healthier, I think is awesome. And it's great that people are trying to do this for themselves. So the road isn't always straight. It's not easy to go from point A to point B. So there's going to be some hiccups, and just being kind to yourself in the way and going slow. I think that's sustainable, and making sure you keep that in the back of your mind to say, this is success, right? It's not necessarily what the magazines and the TV and maybe celebrities are telling us, but this is what's going to last for life. So I guess keeping that in the back of your mind.
Amazing. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Veronica. It's been great speaking to you today, and I'm sure plenty for our CHDers to have a think about. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, Haley. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you've not already, please help us get the word out to fellow CHDers by sharing with your network, subscribing to the Moving with CHD YouTube channel or podcast series on your favourite streaming platform. You can also stay up to date on all the latest episodes on my Instagram @Haley.heartfitness.